All right, everyone, happy Wednesday. Welcome to our third event and a part of our kind of virtual career launch 2020. Each year we do this around the time of graduation to help students prepare for their next steps after Mason. This is a special year, so we've adapted all of our programs to suit the kind of specific needs of this year's graduates, and we're all online. So as part of all of our resources can be accessed virtually, including webinars like this. So we've had several so far. So tomorrow is another session on preparing for virtual interviews. Many organizations are still hiring, but almost all of our interviews are virtual now. So it's very apt time, and I hope you can join us tomorrow as well. So, but today, the topic at hand is about using Handshake for your remote job search. Throughout this webinar, if you would like to participate, please do so in the chat. We will have a structured question and answer section at the end, but if you have questions as you go along, feel free to share those in the chat, and either myself or our moderator, Mary Claire, will answer to you if we can. If you're having technical issues, please put that in the chat. And if you're having trouble hearing us, it might be easiest to call in. But hopefully you're hearing us loud and clear right now. As you're going through, if you're unfamiliar with this chat, the one thing you want to do is when you get sent to, make sure it's sent to all participants. If you just want it to go to the panelists, you can also select all panelists. But just kind of be mindful of that. I know we're all getting more comfortable with chat these days, but just in case you're not used to this format. If you aren't seeing the chat on the right side of your screen, if you go down to the bottom, you'll see a blue circle with what looks like a little thought bubble. If you click that, then your chat will appear on the right-hand side. You might need to minimize the participant side to get the full chat, but it should be there on the right-hand side. All right, so today I am Kristin Leonato. I'm the Associate Director of Strategic Initiatives at University Career Services. I'll be your moderator today. The real star of the show is Aliscia Warren, who is one of our peer career advisors. She's a sophomore here at Mason, and she is great. And so we were so pleased that she agreed to be our presenter today. But before we get there, we are just want to give you a preview of what we're going to go through today. So Aliscia is going to take you, this is really just going to be a big walkthrough. So sort of a kind of live demo of all the stuff that Handshake can do for you. It's a really powerful tool that kind of puts you in the driver's seat of your job search. But a lot of students kind of only use the kind of basic features, which y'all are all probably doing. You've probably looked for some jobs, signed up for some events, and we want to kind of help you take that to the next level. So first, Aliscia is going to talk about your profile and the importance of having it filled out and how all the different points and how they can be useful. We're going to talk about notifications and how you can set up your Handshake account so you get the messages you want, how you want them. We're going to talk more significantly about virtual networking, and whether that's with employers who are hiring or with alumni or current students in fields or industry of interest to you. We're going to talk about how to use the filters to get, again, the jobs where you are, and whether that is in Oklahoma City or in Oakton, how to find what you're looking for you. Also, Handshake has a new feature called Career Paths, which is has a tab, which is if you're, so many of us, what do I want to do? Or I'm just trying to narrow something down. And Aliscia is going to go through that and how that can provide good information for you. Also, there's a Q&A tab, so question and answer amongst people on the Handshake platform, and she's going to demo that for you as well. Again, as you have questions, you go along, we'll try to answer them in the chat, and then we will have some time at the end, at least 10 minutes or so, maybe 15, for your questions as you kind of move along. So without further delay, today, goodness gracious, it is 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I can tell I need another Diet Coke. So first, now, without further delay, I'm going to pass this on to our resident expert, Aliscia. So she's going to take over the screen. You take it away, Aliscia.
Hi everyone, as mentioned, and I am here to help students find connections, build their resumes, and gain confidence before entering the career field. And again, this video is to help you apply for remote jobs. And so I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to walk you through the process. All right, at this moment, I cannot share my screen. 1 second. But during this time, it's a very difficult time, especially with everything being online. And so you may not necessarily know what different things you should be able to do. And so maybe you've logged into Handshake before. A lot of people are familiar with the platform because it's an amazing social media work site. And maybe you set up your profile a little bit and dabbled in some stuff, but you mainly just stick to going straight to the job searching and going in on that and keeping the same things you can do. But there are different things and different features that you can do to enhance your experience and then specify the features for Handshake specifically for you. And so now I'm going to share my screen, and I can, yay. All right, so now that that's working, I am going to go back to the home page. So this is the home page when you first log into Handshake. This page is specifically for you. It is based on your personal activity. Employers cannot pay to have their job seen on this page. It is personalized for you, and the page can change over time depending on what you're looking for. And so these are based off of your preferences, and each individual will have a different page. So this is my page. These are jobs that are recommended for me based off of things that I've been looking into. You can also see jobs that you favored, which we'll get into later on. I have on-campus job that comes up because I live on campus, fingers crossed, next year. So I want to work on campus and immerse myself in the community here at Mason a lot. And then based on my activities, what employer should I follow? They're recommending me things. And other things I can do to enhance my experience here at Mason are coming up on this page specifically for me. Something that is very interesting is things that are popular in your major. I'm a psychology major, so these are jobs that I can apply to help further develop my resume and my experience here at Mason. And so next thing we're going to talk about is setting up your profile. The profile is your foundation of your Handshake experience. So you're going to click the little picture right over here and then click My Profile once it loads. Okay, so here's my profile. Here you can see there's information of what I'm studying and my year, and then there's also a my journey statement, which is very similar to like an objective statement or a profile statement on your resume or cover letter. There's going to be education, and I have my work experience here at Mason, and I put everything for all the employers that I have worked with and how long I've worked for them and where the job was located. I have my interest, and then I also have industries. There's a lot of industries listed right here. I haven't narrowed that down specifically what I want to go into, so I like to look at a lot of things. I like to see what I'm a part of and any courses, so employers could come and see how I've gained experience in the school setting. And I also have my skills and any type of projects that I've done in class. I put up here big projects I like to include. This is a great way to market yourself and showcase and highlight your knowledge and experience on Handshake. You can also make your profile public to employers. So if you go near the top, where is it? There it is. Right now I have my profile visible to employers, students, alumni, all across all Handshake University, so anybody can see my profile, but this can also be changed. So if you click settings, and you're going to scroll down, and when you go to community, this is everybody who can see your profile. And so another setting you can do is you can preference which documents you want visible on your profile. So I'm going to click to manage documents. I have no documents visit on my profile, so employers who are coming to see them, there's no professional documents for them to look at. So I want to have them see my updated resume, a master resume I have on file. Maybe I'll skip a cover letter, maybe I'll add a cover letter later. We could do a recommendation letter and a transcript. Maybe they'll want to see that. And so those are things that are now visible on my profile. And the next thing we are going to talk about is notifications. So especially during this time, everything is online, and sometimes it can be a little overwhelming receiving a lot of information online and repeatedly receiving emails. And when you're exposed to a lot of information online, sometimes you don't really look at notifications. I know if I'm receiving a lot of emails or things for one industry or one brand, I'll put it on mute or I'll just ignore it. But notifications are important, and you can preference what notifications you want, so you're getting the ones that you need and the ones that you know you want to look at. So every time I get a notification, I know it's something that I've decided that it's important for me to look at. And so we're going to go to, again, I did that a little fast. So click the picture, notifications, it's going to bring you to this page. Here I have notifications. I've been invited to an event. That's a preference I have. And to edit it, you're going to click this button, Edit Notification Preferences. And there are a lot of preferences you can put. So if you want general information, you want information about events. Let's say I am following an employer that I'm interested in, and I want to get a notification of when that employer is having an info session, so I can learn more about that employer. Let's say I want a notification about event series that are happening, career services. We're having a lot of virtual events right now, and if there are any changes that are happening, I want to receive a notification for that event that I joined or events that are coming up. And you can have notifications sent to your phone if you want them as well. So it doesn't have to be just your email. Or you can take the phone notifications off depending on if you don't want any notifications on your phone. And so you can do notifications for interviews, because a lot of interviews are happening online. And this is a great way to see if your time has changed. You can get a notification right there. That's important. I'm clicking that. There's also upcoming job deadlines, which I have for email and phone. So sometimes I get busy and I forget, and I don't want to miss those deadlines. Also, when an employer edits a job, that's a good notification to have. So there's a lot of notifications you can go through to make it personalized for what you want to do and what is very important for you. And next, we are going to talk about, so once your profile is set up and you have your desired notifications on, it is time to virtual network. And I understand that can be a little daunting, especially with everything being online. It's a little confusing of how that should work, and so that's why we're here to help. So first thing we're going to talk about is networking with employers. So we're going to click Jobs. And then for job search, we're going to go to this tab up here and go to the employers. Here you can view the employer page to see open jobs that they may have and see contact information or other students who have worked there. You can see their social media links. This is just a great way to research your employers and your recruiters. You can find them on LinkedIn as well. So here are some employers that I follow, and I can go in and see their information that they may have. And also I can discover more employers. So here are things that are maybe interesting for me. And then on the left, you have more filters that you can do. So you're not looking at 500,000 employers. Let's say you just want to work for a small company, or you want to work for a big company, or you just want to look at employers with reviews to gain more insight about that experience. Or maybe you know what industry you're going into, and so you just want to look at things that apply to you. And so let's look at an employer. Let's look at FedEx right now because they are working, and that may be somebody who is interested in working for them. So here is their employer page, and here you can see how many employers work for them. You can see that they have reviews, and there's information on interviews. And then here you can see that there's highlights on the review. So you can see that off the bat, you can gain information very, very quickly. It's flexible. There's a 401k. There's high performance. It's a large company. And you can also message students who have worked there to see what was their experience like. Are they able to balance it with their schoolwork? What was the experience like? And you can read the reviews if you would like to, more in depth. And you can also know more about the interview process, which is very, very important and very beneficial for us, because I know I get very nervous for interviews. And so seeing this page to know what was the process like, okay, they're only doing phone interviews. Or this person said down here that it was a short and sweet process, so it's less daunting and it relieves some stress, and I'm more able to go into the interview more excited and more ready for it. So this is, again, a great way to message them and get to know more about the employer, and you can follow them and message them if that's something you would like to do as well. So next thing we're going to talk about is networking with students. So we're going to go to the Students tab. Student networking is so important because it allows you to make connections and gain insight and opportunities from a student perspective. And so let's look up before we look up somebody specifically, you can message people from different universities if you're thinking about changing grad schools or just want to gain their overall experience. Or you can just look at alumni to see what were they able to do with your degree. It can be a little daunting sometimes. You're about to graduate or you just graduated and you're like, okay, what do I do next? What can I do next? What are some choices that are available? Who is hiring for people with my degree and with my set of experience? So this is a good way to gain that insight. And if you just want to look at people who are in seniors or freshmen or specific majors, and again, filtering just continues on here. And so let's visit a student's page to gain more insight. Let's see. We can go to Marissa Goodkin. She works for Career Services. She's a grad student. She is an amazing supervisor. And so here, visiting another student's profile is a great opportunity because you also get ideas about what you can do for your own profile. So here I'm seeing my journey statement is a bit longer than mine. So maybe I can go and add something there that I was missing. And she has impact statements for her work experience. I didn't put those on there just yet. So I can gain insight of what I can do with mine, or maybe I need help writing mine, or ideas of tailoring my work experience. And so going to other students' pages is a great way to gain ideas for your own profile and build up on that. And you can also message them. So she is in higher education and student development graduate here at George Mason University. So maybe I want to message her, and maybe I'm about to graduate and I'm thinking of grad school here at Mason. So I want to ask her about her experience here and education recommendations. And when you click that, you see that it has a template already formatted, which is very, very cool. And so you can just say, hey, I came across your profile. I see you have experience with higher ed and student development. I think I want some help with graduate courses or the graduate application process from a student perspective. You want to see how she walked through it, how she was able to handle it. What was the stress like? Any questions that she had? And one thing I do want to show as well, because I went through that a little fast, is when you message somebody, again, there are different categories you can ask them. You can go to other as well, but these are the ones that have the pre-formatted format, so you can message them, which is very good. Okay. And next thing we are going to talk about is job searching, specifically looking for a job with teleworking or virtual work. So we're going to go to jobs. Let it load. Thank you. Cool. And so many of you know that there are filters for job search. And the 4 big ones up here, full-time, part-time, internship, and on-campus, those are the 4 most common filters applied, which are why they're in big. So a lot of people, especially at this time, are looking for internships. So let's say we are looking for an internship job. And not only that, we want, let's say we want a research job. So the ones, before I clicked research, there was a long list of things up there, categories. And those are based off of my previous features. So it makes the application process very quick. And not only do we want an internship, we want it based on research, we want a remote internship because that is the world we are living in at this time. And as you can see, the job number got smaller and smaller as we went. Another thing you can do is you can sort which ones you are seeing. So maybe we want it by the expiration date. So that way we are seeing the job interviews where the applications are closing very soon. So this one is closing at 6. So maybe I want to see the first ones that are coming up or ones that are about to expire so I can apply for those first. And another thing we can do is we can favor jobs. So let's say I want to look at that one later. And I'm going to continue scrolling and I'm going to look at this one later as well. And this is a good feature because job job searching in general, it can be stressful and it can be a long process. So let's say you're setting aside 30 minutes just to do your job searching and you're favoring it. And then later on, you're going to go to my favorites. And then here are all the jobs that you have favored. And again, you can sort it by expiration date. So as soon as you see this, you're applying to this one, you're going to set aside time to apply to this specific job. And when you're looking at jobs, always read the information as much as possible so you can see their mission, you can see that you can work anywhere from here. You see what their main schedule is, what they're looking for, the description. I would suggest reading that several times so you know exactly what you are applying for when you're doing your job search. And you can continue adding more filters by hitting this button. So let's say we wanted paid roles only, or on-campus jobs, or even more filters. Experiential learning, we want a fellowship. We want to just do volunteer work. These are things to narrow down your focus. And you can do industries. And again, they're going to put suggestions everywhere you want because this should be a personalized experience that is just for you. And so it makes an easier process for you. And there are a lot of filters that you can do. Maybe you know what type of employer you want, and you know that they have multiple job listings, and so you're going to put in different applications for each of those job listings. So this is a great place to do your remote searching. And again, it's important to use those keywords, virtual and remote. And next, we are going to talk about career path. So when you go to the home button, I'll go back to the home button. And you hit career, where is it? Okay, you're going to click this icon right here, career path. So career path is for students who haven't narrowed it down just yet. So maybe you're still guessing which major you're going into or which industry you want to work in, or maybe you don't know what an industry is just yet. And it is perfectly fine not knowing what you want to do or not knowing just yet. I know for me personally, I'm interested in human resources, maybe consulting industry, but I don't really have an idea of what I want to do just yet. So I go here and I'm going to do some research and I'm going to explore and I'm going to gain more insight and network. So I said human resources earlier, so I'm going to click that and I'm interested in that. And here you see a lot of information. So one thing that comes up that a lot of people searching for jobs, something that's important to them is the salary. A lot of us realistically, we're doing student loans, so maybe that's important for us to look at the salary part of it. You can also see the top cities for this role. Maybe you're graduating Mason and you're like, I want to leave, or you want to explore, or you want to grow, or maybe you want to stay in Virginia. Is that a top city for your industry? So seeing here, human resources, there's New York and Washington, D.C., which is right very, very close. So maybe I'm in a good location for my industry if I choose to go to this industry. And they're also going to give you more insight of other things you can look into. And then over here on the left, there are jobs, and you're going to see majors and you're going to see students here. So again, you can message students for their experience here, and also seeing the majors, seeing that, okay, psychology is a top major for this industry. So that kind of makes me feel good, even though major doesn't interest equal career, sorry. And so you can click on a job that's posted and see the employer and gain more information from them. Again, you can start favoring them, or you can continue doing research and looking at their reviews and asking questions from them. And this next thing we're going to talk about is a Q&A feature on Handshake. Most people actually don't know about the Q&A feature just yet, but this is an extension of doing research with an employer. So we're going to click Q&A. And this section of Handshake talks about specific topics. So right here on the right, there's like browsing trending topics that are happening in the area. So something that is happening is, let's click, let's do pros and cons. That's a very interesting topic. I think that's an important topic too, because you want to know what are the pros and cons for certain employers. And the people who are answering these questions, there are students who are answering these questions, but there are also employers and recruiters who are answering questions. And so that is very important to notice because you're getting real answers. So here, this is a question: what is it like being a data entry clerk, if I can read and pronounce words? And so they're asking somebody, what are the pros and cons? What did they like? What they did dislike? Those are very important things to ask, and it's very important to learn. And so it's a great, an amazing feature. And if you've worked for that company or you know the answer to a question, you can also answer a question and continue building that community and that network throughout Handshake. And again, employers and recruiters are also responding to topics about their business and the work that they provide people. Another thing you can do is you can make an appointment with career services. So I know our physical location is obviously closed. However, our services are online, and we moved a lot of things online for you guys. And so we're going to go to Career Center. And here we're going to click Appointments. And then you're going to click Schedule a New Appointment. And then here you can see all the services that we are offering. So you want to practice a virtual interview, you can do that. If you want to learn more about federal volunteer work, you can do that as well. Graduate school, professional school, evening appointments. So we do offer some services that are after regular business hours for people who do work 9 to 5 every day. Those are an option for you as well. So you can do that. You can explore your major in your career field, or you want to know more information on applying to jobs and internships. Like if after this you just want to know more, you want to talk one-on-one with somebody, you can do that right after this webinar ends and set up an appointment with somebody from Career Services. And so let's say I want to know more about my industry. I said earlier, I'm not entirely sure what I want to do, or maybe I'm thinking about changing my career field, or I'm thinking about changing anything, or I just haven't narrowed it down and I'm open to a lot of things. So here we're going to click that, and then we're going to click choose career field / industry, but you can also choose major if that applies to you, or talk about career assessment tests, or you want to take a career assessment test, or you're like, what is that? I want to know more. You can set up an appointment with us. And so I'm going to click career industry field, and let's say I have absolutely no idea what staff member I want or what industry I'm going into, or I want to know a perspective from a different industry that I may be interested in. So here you can start choosing people, or if you don't have a preference, you can choose no preference. And here are the appointments that are available for that time. There's appointments that are for Thursday. As you can see, this is the evening time, so if that time works for you, you can click it and then begin setting up an appointment. Here you're going to see a part where it's what can help you with. I'm sorry, there's a thing blocking it. Oh, they want to know more information of how they can help you. Sorry. And you just say what you want to know more information on. So let's say I wanted to know more information on about my industry, the behavior, the culture of my industry, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, how are they adapting to COVID, you just want to know more information, so you can type there what you want to know, or maybe you don't know anything but you want to talk to somebody. I know I've been in that situation before where I wanted to go talk to somebody, but I didn't have any specific questions to ask because I didn't know what to ask. So if you just want general information, you can do that, because sometimes giving you that general information, you start coming up with questions, or the gears start turning in your brain. And so that's a good way to do it as well. And so that concludes the end of this session on remote job searching using Handshake. Thank you all so much for attending. And at this time, we are now open to questions.
Thank you so much, Aliscia. That was great. We had one question that came through the chat earlier that I did want to go ahead and share. As you have questions coming, please start adding them into the chat, and I will be kind of sharing them to for either Aliscia or I to respond. One question that came through that I feel applies to everyone is, there was a question about should I apply for the job through Handshake or through the organization site. If they you should apply however they tell you to in Handshake. So if that posting, however they say in the post, sometimes they'll direct you to the outside site. Often they'll ask you to apply in Handshake, which is actually great because then you end up in the Handshake pile, you know, that recruiter's looking at intentionally versus the big pile that comes through their public website. Also, when you find stuff in Handshake, you know that they had to intentionally seek out Mason students. They intentionally posted it to Mason students. And so the job that you see in there, it's always the first place to start because they actively want Mason students. Another question just came through, are career services available during the summer break? Absolutely. We're always open during the summer. And this year especially so. We have converted all of our services to virtual. So everything from virtual document review via email or in-person or phone appointment to video or web calls. And we're going to continue our some of our programming and events as well. Our employers are eager to still talk to our students, and there's a line. We're trying to get them to connect with you. One big new thing that we wouldn't normally be doing in the summer is we're going to have a virtual job fair, which will be coming out probably early June. We'll have a date soon, and that will be providing programming to help students get prepared. Let's see here. As a follow-up, there was a question about if the job asks you to apply in both places, then you apply in both places. Do whatever they ask and read the whole thing so you kind of do it right.
I do want to add a benefit of applying through Handshake is you're able to see, I think it's called like the status of your application. So you can see when they reviewed your application, and sometimes that's just like a big relief. Because it's a little daunting sometimes. They're like, you're waiting. You're like, I haven't heard anything. What's happening? Again, it takes time because they're receiving a lot of applications, but that is a benefit of applying through Handshake is seeing that, okay, they've reviewed my application or it's pending or like an interview is scheduled or anything like that. So that's a great feature.
Yeah, and that's also impacted by how you set up your notifications. So if you set it up to get an email, also kind of how they set up their notifications on the employer side, but you at least have something where you're like, so often when you apply for jobs, you feel like it just went into a big black hole. So at least you can be like, at least somebody looked at it, at least somebody did, or letting you know if, you know, it's just time to move on. I think someone had a question about what's mostly in Handshake. Handshake is about 60 to 70% is usually jobs. They are most often targeted toward senior alumni and graduate students. That's kind of the first big thing, but there's also a ton of things, internships, part-time jobs, on-campus jobs. They're open to everyone. So really what is in there is jobs, but also a big chunk for internships and a lot of part-time jobs, as well as full-time. Let's see. I have a question I'm just going to read while I think. We're taking summer classes. We're trying to get a summer remote internship be a good thing or a bad thing? Do they expect you to be on during certain periods of time or just get the work done? That really varies by the position and varies by your personal life. If you're taking classes this summer, because you want to or you need to, if you feel comfortable in that. If you've never taken summer courses are intense because they're compressed. However, some people are like, yes, let's get it over with. It's really kind of up to you. In terms of combining that with an internship, many of them are remote now, but that's going to vary. Some companies are, sure, whenever, just get it done. Or they give you a project and say, come back when you need feedback. Some are going to want you online from 9 to 5 Eastern Standard Time, which can be tough if you live in California. So it's a matter of what you're doing. A lot of them will have those specifications in the job posting, kind of what's expected, but those are also great questions to ask in an interview setting as well. You know, kind of what sort of software will you need, what sort of technology would be expected, when would you need to be online, how many hours are they really looking for? How far along during internship should students start applying for a future job, midway or after finishing? In terms of your going through your internship, you need to see it as a learning experience first and foremost. Employers absolutely use internships to recruit for full-time employers, full-time options. Some of that depends on what you're doing. You do want to make a good impression first. You shouldn't day one be like, hey, so am I going to get a job out of this? But, you know, as you're kind of moving along, it is good to start letting them know, hey, I'm graduating in May, or hey, I'm going to be graduating in December. Is there someone I could talk to about opportunities here? Because it may or may not be in your department. Of course, that all comes down if you like your internship. Sometimes you learn you are not interested in working there long term, and then you'll be pursuing other opportunities. But you can see what you can learn from while you're there. And then, you know, there's usually something you can take with you from even from an internship you don't enjoy. Let's see. Okay, okay, difference between the web version of Handshake and the mobile app. So you can use Handshake. It's very mobile friendly, which is one of the reasons we like. Many times students are just using it in the browser on their phone, but there's also the Handshake app, which is now on Android and Mac versions. There are some things that are easier to do, especially things like event check-in or stuff like that on the app. But everything should be accessible. Your most accessible version is the browser. But I think in terms of the app versus the web browser, that's kind of a personal preference. Yeah, so we currently have over 8,700 opportunities in Handshake. There are over 6,000 jobs and about 1,800 internships. Some of those are for the summer, some of those for the fall. Oh, I love this question. Nancy, you're my favorite person right now. What is the benefit of using Handshake rather than other job search platforms? The benefit of using Handshake really is that it's for you. It's for Mason students. So the people who are putting opportunities there have intentionally, they've had to click, I want Mason students. And so they're actively trying to recruit you already. So step one, already ahead. The other is its ability to give you a customized job search experience. You know, you log on to Indeed and you put like summer internship in Fairfax, and then you just, you know, it loads for days. And it's so overwhelming and it's hard to find what you want. The artificial intelligence behind Handshake serves you up things based on your profile, the interests that you put in, and your usage to things that, you know, are useful to you. You know, if you search for a lot of internships, it'll give you a lot of internships. But you can also run parallel searches. Say you want an on-campus job for the fall, but you also want to be looking for an internship for the summer. So she can help you with all of those things in one place, and they can help you kind of sort and select. And then the other big thing is the networking. You know, you can get inside info on the companies, the reviews, hello, and being able to ask other students, you know, across the platform, across the area, you know, you don't get that from other job search platforms. So Handshake, in terms of like everything all in one place, it's a really powerful tool to kind of help you no matter where you are. So if you're at a point in your life where you're like, I have no idea what I want to do next, it's just the place for everyone, for many people. Or if you're like, I know exactly what I want, I just need to know how to find it. You know, Handshake can really help you at any point there. Let's see here. I think I've gotten to most of the questions. We've got about, okay. The other thing that Handshake has is also where we put in all of our events. So the employer events that we're going to have come up, there's a big events tab there. It's where all of our career fair listings are. So when we have our virtual fair up, you'll be able to see and you know who's coming and all that other good stuff. And you can research the employers in advance and see what they're hiring for in advance. And you can apply for on-campus interviews. We have a huge series of kind of on-campus, in quotes, interviews for people who are interested in education positions. So all school-based positions at pretty much every school district, you know, within a 4-county radius, is going to be doing on-campus interviews for Mason students coming up. And you will apply for those through Handshake to kind of get those all set up. Couple more minutes. I'll give a couple more minutes. I just want to, you have some additional questions, please keep adding them in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. I did want to kind of, again, promote tomorrow. And it is about virtual interviews. So a lot of things about interviewing is the same, whether you're on camera or not. And then there's a lot of things that can really be helpful to consider in advance. So get some tips, get some ideas, sometimes unique things about conveying yourself effectively through a virtual setting versus in person. Then on next Monday, we have Managing Your Career During Chaotic Times, which can feel very apropos. And then again, later on this month, we'll have something to prepare for the virtual career fair, which is a new experience for all of our students. We did have a question come in. Can employers recruit us through Handshake? Yes, if you would like. So in those settings that Aliscia mentioned, you can make yourself viewable to employers, which I would highly recommend you do, because then they find you. And our employers actively do. They reach out to our students on site. They can only see what you choose to share. But they actively reach out. They'll reach out in advance of an event that's coming up, or the career fair, saying, hey, come see me at booth 87, you know, and they do a lot of things to intentionally try to recruit. That's why they're all in on Handshake as well. So yes, they will. Had a question about Blackboard. Blackboard is no longer a part of your life after you graduate, which you're probably not sad about. Will you need to be professionally dressed up for the career fair? Yes. It's just to focus your spirit into professional weight, but also there will be some that will be done just via phone, but many of them you will be on camera. So even if you are in your bedroom, you will put on your shirt, your tie, your blouse with earrings, and you'll act as if you're about to, you know, walk into a career fair. Okay, one more. I think that's it. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much, Aliscia, for the great job you did sharing with us. And thank you to Mary Claire and Kristin, who were helping to moderate for us behind the scenes. And I hope we see you tomorrow at our virtual interviewing session tomorrow, too. So thank you, and have a great day.